Good evening, and thank you for joining us for tonight's Critical Break Sharing. I am Aaron L. McKinney, Interim Executive Director of High Arts. For accessibility, I will provide a visual description. I am a caramel complexion Black male with a high top haircut, faded sides, connecting beard and goatee. I have on a black t-shirt, and I am sitting in a white walled office with the door ajar behind me. Hanging on that door is a jacket and umbrella. I am joining you today from the land of the Lenape people. I am in High Arts office in what is now called East Harlem, New York. This evening, you will have the pleasure of witnessing our latest Critical Breaks artist in residence, Katie Madison, and her collaborators, Jarrett Murray on bass and Jacinth Greywoode on piano, with videography by Deborah Cowell. They have been developing Sun Songs, which you can read about in the show program, which will be linked in the comments, and the link will also appear in the screen later in the program. After the presentation, there will be a conversation facilitated by our curator in residence, Kyria Traber. We are also sending a special thanks to First Choice Interpreting Service for providing ASL interpretation for us this evening. Thank you again for your support of tonight's presentation. We have some very exciting things coming, so please visit www.high-artsnyc.org for all of our upcoming programming, and I can't wait to welcome you into our space as soon as we feel it's safe to do so. I look forward to seeing you soon. Again, enjoy Sun Songs.
Send me somewhere I can transcend this something, pretending to be the sum of my body. Send me somewhere. Send me somewhere. Send me to the moon and back again. Send me soon to track the end, where time stands still and the pendulum swings outside the expected rhythm. Send me to the stars where the air is clear. Send me far, but hold my heart near and close enough to feel it beat in time with the moments we're destined to meet. Send me somewhere I can transcend this something, pretending to be the sum of my body. Send me somewhere. Send me somewhere. Send me on a comet to catch the breeze. Send me fast where moving's easy and the past subsides like gentle waves dancing to an unexpected rhythm. Send me out of orbit on a path on my own. Send me to a place I can call my home, unbound by walls or physical form. All we hear is the sound of the storm calling, 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 calling. When in sync, we can see forever, but sometimes we're blinded by the thought of never escaping the pattern that holds us hostage, draping Saturn with skewed diagnostics. My seat is saved and yours is too. All that matters now is what we do and where we go. Oh, the places we know we will soon discover. I'm uncovered and unfiltered, and if I tilt just a little bit further, I might rise enough to bend. Send me somewhere I can transcend the something, pretending to be the sum of my body. Send me somewhere. Send me somewhere. When I was 3, my mother took me to see my very first starberry tree. Tied to my pail, we set sail on a trail veiled in aisles of green. I don't see any stars, I said with my head down low. My sweet, you're not far. Instead, try above, not below. Starberry, starberry, come on and play. Starberry, starberry, show me the way. Starberry blue, I'll find you, but I won't stay too long. My frustrated grudge, she smudged away with a nudge. Keep looking before you misjudge. With a deep sigh, I looked to the sky and espied with my eyes of surprise. Mama, a star, I said with my head held high. My sweet, you're never far when you're led by the sky. Starberry, starberry, take me away. Starberry, starberry, let's leave today. Starberry blue, perfect and true, I'll follow you all day long. We danced and we danced, Starberry and me. We danced and we danced under the starberry tree. We danced and we danced until daybreak broke. We danced and we danced until Mother spoke. Where is your star? She asked from afar. Right here, I said, and I held out my jar. To my surprise, the jar was empty. Where did it go? I asked Mother gently. My sweet, what you don't know about starberry trees is that in order to grow, they must remain free. Free from any jar or any pail. Free to fly far and free to set sail. wish you could stay. Starberry blue, in my heart you will be. Always. When I was 3, my mother took me to see my very first starberry tree. I wonder if you can see clearly from where you are. And I wonder if you are merely scared to feel so far. Something's putting up a fight, middle of the night, screaming this ain't right at all. Someone's calling out loud, begging for a crowd to break down the walls between you and I, and the pale blue sky shining through my window. I know it's late, but I've got a date with someone I used to know. Hello. It's been a long time. I've got questions about my memories and the things that I have lost. I've got questions about mutuality, if what it brings is worth the cost. I'm not used to being scared till now. I never dared to share so much. Why lies. Saints, humanity is no surprise. All disguises eventually fall, and the clarion call is heard by all. Look in the mirror, tell me, what do you see? Do you see all that you can be? Do you see a queen? Do you see royalty? Do you see all those who came before, who remind us daily that we can soar? Do you see what I see? Do you see? Fallen fast and weightless still, swallow the pest like a jagged pill. Bite my tongue as I learn to will the uphill climb. Call it my last mistakes again, like an old familiar friend I used to see now and then when we reimagine time. Round and round we know to go, round and round we grow, so we can move a little different, 'cause we groove a little different, and our sound circles back to anyone who's long been done. Run, run, run to where you're headed. Run, 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 share the truth that's threaded through you. Through you. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. The path will wind and bend and curve. Keep in mind all you deserve. Find what steadies every nerve. Conserve your energy. Rehash the times that warm your heart. Stash away the joyful parts of memories in high regard. You'll start to see. Round and round we know to go. Round and round we grow, so we can sing a little different, 'cause what we bring's a little different, and our spirit circles back to anyone who's long been done. Run, run, run to where you're headed. Run, 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 share the truth that's threaded through you. Through you. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. Don't be the horror story, only you can set the worry free. Don't be the horror story, only you can set the worry free. Don't be the horror story, only you can set the worry free. It's your turn. Turn. Round around we know to go. Round round we grow, so we might be a little different, and we fight a little different, because our light circles back to anyone who's long been done. Run, run, run to where you're headed. Run, 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 share the truth that's threaded through you. Through you. Run, run, run. I thought that pride was the enemy, caught in stride. I couldn't see that after you fall, it's all right to call for something at all to shine. I've been brought back to life time and again, taught that strife subsides in the end. 'Cause after you fall, it's all right to call for something at all to shine. Drink the wine that feeds your soul, align your spirit and become whole. Divine love is yours to make, a sign that life is yours to take. I see you, you're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. Fraught with fear that took hold strong, I fought to revere what I was told all along about children who fall when they step out of line, searching for something that shines. Wrought with desire to understand why, an onslaught of dreams inspired my cry for the children who fall when they step out of line, searching for something that shines. If you drink the wine that feeds your soul, you'll align your spirit and become whole. Divine love is yours to make, a sign that life is yours to take. I see you, you're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. Stories are shades of black, gray, and white. What defines evil depends how you see light. Monsters and shadows only scare those holding on too tight. I know because I was once a child who stepped out of line, searching for something that shines. I drink the wine that feeds your soul. I aligned my spirit and became whole. Divine love is mine to make, a sign that life is mine to take. I see you. You're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. It's all about perspective. When you're looking all around just for something effective to lift you off the ground, to find a new directive, to show you the way. What if I told you, when you leave behind the things that you don't know hold you, and back from taking flight so high, no, I won't scold you, but I could show you the way. Take my hand and you'll understand why where we Look up and live deeply. Feel every emotion. The highs and the lows flowing free like the ocean. A current all their own. It's a welcome commotion of showing you the way. It might seem a bit scary to let yourself be whole and to let it carry you through all you do, even when you're wary of losing your way. Take my hand and you'll understand why where we land demands our attention. You've got everything you need inside you. Take a shot. It's easier to hide, but that's not half the fun of running full speed ahead. Instead of only looking back, look up and live deeply. Let the sky guide your way. Set your eyes on a day when time stays on your side long enough to persuade the tide to sing. And you'll hear it say, take my hand, and you'll understand why where we land demands our attention. You've got everything you need inside you. Take a shot. It's easier to hide, but that's not half the fun of running full speed ahead. Instead of only looking back, look up and live deeply. Your love is perfect morning air, where I can finally breathe. Your love stares deep inside of me, where only lovers sleep. Your love is touch with a lighter hand, standing to becoming one. Your love lands just as the horizon is spun with the sun. Weave me into shades of blue and melancholy gold. Thieves will always meddle with what we hold on to. Just say you'll stay and make believe with me like I believe in you. Your love is a quiet afternoon, in tune with nature's song. Your love immune to man-made wrongs, fighting to belong. Your love is eternal peace, keeping balance from within. Your love keyed into the yin and yang that's always been. of true. Cotton threads from me to you, head to toe, embedded in my bones. I know your love is everything, singing in my mind. Your love rings one of a kind I never thought I'd find. Weave me into shades of blue and melancholy gold. Thieves will always meddle with what we hold on to. Just say you'll stay and make believe with me like I believe in you, in you. That's it? Hey! How do we feel?
Hello, everyone. Welcome again. My name is Kyria Traver, pronouns she, her. I'm curator in residence with High Arts. I'm joining you from Lenape land in Brooklyn. And visual description, I am a light brown skin woman wearing wire rim glasses. I have poofy, kinky, curly hair on top of my head. I'm wearing a green leopard print shirt, and behind me are some plants and a curtain. And I am just full of glow from witnessing Sun Songs by Katie Madison and her incredible collaborators. We're going to have a short talk back to just hear a little bit more about what went into that vision we all witnessed. If you've been following High Arts Instagram, there's been sneak peeks of process for the last month, but we're going to get into it a little more right now. I'd like to welcome the collaborators to the panel, if you will. Hi. Oh my God, what an experience. I have to say, first and foremost, Debbie Cowell, videographer, thank you for your video work. You managed to do such an incredible job of capturing something that was both virtuosic but also very intimate and in progress in a really inviting way. I felt transported to the studio with you all. And I know, Katie, you also did some editing as well, so it was definitely a collaborative. But before I keep gushing, would you just like to introduce yourselves and say, like, you can say your name, pronoun, where you're joining us from, and visual description quickly. Katie, can I ask you to start?
Of course. Hi, my name is Katie Madison. I'm coming to you from Brownsville, Brooklyn. I am a light-skinned, kind of caramel-colored, black female assigned at birth human. My pronouns are she, her. My hair is natural, really curly, a little bit longer than shoulder length. I'm wearing a green kind of beanie hat with black thick-rimmed glasses, and my little shirt says women did not have to, and then it's a long list of things that women don't have to do. And I'm in my studio, which has my keyboard and degrees behind it, behind my head, and some photos and things.
Thank you so much, Katie. And if you don't know, if you're joining just because you just popped in, Katie is the lead creator for this project. You should visit higharts.com/sunsongs to see full bios for all of the collaborators. Debbie, would you mind introducing yourself?
My name is Debbie. My full name is Deborah Cowell. Call me Debbie. My pronouns are she, her. I am joining you from Lenape land, Brooklyn, Brownsville. And I am the person who did the videography and photography for this project.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, Jarrett.
Hi, I'm Jarrett. I'm from Brooklyn, but right now I'm calling him from Connecticut, Hammonasset Land. I'm wearing an orange Camp Half-Blood t-shirt, if you're into Percy Jackson. I'm sitting on a green couch I'm in like the kitchen thing. I got a refrigerator behind me. Yes. And I played the bass.
That you did. That. And we don't yet have the pianist with us. How do you pronounce his name? I don't want to mess it up.
Jacinth Greywoode, yes.
Jacinth Greywoode, we don't yet have him. He's been in transit. He may or may not pop in, but we are grateful for his work as well. Yeah. I want to jump in right away with something that, Katie, I was a part of the selection process when you applied, and from jump, your application just jumped out to me. And you mentioned it even, we exchanged an email this week about what you wanted for this moment as a musical theater artist was an opportunity to explore a new way of making musical theater, of having a different process, a different journey towards this work. And I thought at the time I was really excited to see that because we were, right in the center of a year of pandemic and, high cases and all that. And I was excited to see an application that didn't seem to be afraid of that. Or, maybe fear is allowed. And then also there's ways that I think even whatever the era, you're doing something different. Can you talk a little bit about what that is? What do you think you're doing, you and your collaborators? And other people can weigh in as well, but I thought I'd start with you, Katie.
Yeah, thank you for taking time with my application. Applications are like really stressful for me. Like I think that my talking about how I do what I do is like much harder than just doing the thing. And I have written other shows before. Jarrett and I wrote a piece together, a full-length musical, and we kind of were like, this is what we want to say, and this is who's at play, and this is where we're going to start, and then this is where we end. And was definitely very like character driven and plot, and it just felt like it had, there was a way that we devised it. And then another show that I worked on, Taking Space, I guess I similarly kind of knew like where we were and then where we were going to end up. And I think in this case, Sun Songs literally started, I think this first song I wrote was Two Blue Balloons, which I sent to Jarrett. And I didn't know it was a show. I didn't know it was Sun Songs. Like I think that somewhere along the line, I put an application together and was like, this is who I think is at playing. Even in the language of the application, I was like, I don't know who it is. I know that it's entities, right? Like I know that it's bodies. I know that it's suns. And then I'm like, I guess what I'm doing wholly, which it continues to do, is I'm letting the work tell me what it is, as opposed to telling myself this is what it is. And like even in tonight, the way that what I saw, it continues to tell me what it is. And one of the biggest things that I just kept writing music, and I didn't write them. I don't know like where in the show they come. I don't know who's singing what, but I know the things that I was talking about. And then having the opportunity to put them all in sync, and I keep listening to them over and over again. And as I do, like Debbie and I had a conversation this week about, oh, this is what this looks like. This is who's at play. And it feels new, I suppose, like I'm not doing it intentionally. I just, like I've said before, and they all know it, Jarrett and Debbie, because Jarrett's worked with me before and Debbie knows me really well, that like, I think that I write the thing that I know, but I still am practicing to believe and put in practice in my own life. And so if I can listen to the work, it will tell me what it needs, I guess, and where it is gonna go. And I am grateful that you, as a receiver of it, it felt new, because I'm not trying. I am wholly just sharing, which also may be new because that feels really scary.
Thank you for that. And speaking of listening to the work, Jarrett, I would love for you to sort of comment on your collaboration. I know that even though Katie is composer, there's also ways that it's very collaborative, and your role as bassist was really strong and present in the work. Can you talk a little bit about how you engage with this as a collaborator?
Sure. Sure. When I get Katie's work, when I receive her music, I like when I sit down and read it at first, I usually get it. Like I get the tone that we're going for. I get the thing, the message that we're trying to pass, and I'm just kind of throw my hat in the ring and to try and keep interpreting that and pass it on to the listener, if that makes sense.
I think so. And what is so you had 50 hours as Critical Breaks artists. What are some of the inside the studio moments? Are you really just sort of like jamming together? Are you coming in like, oh, let's work on this piece today? Like, can you give us a little peek inside some of the moments?
If I may.
Please.
I came in watching everything. My job was to just see it all. And it's interesting to watch each of them as musicians and thinkers and artists just come together around what the work is becoming and what the space is also participating in having it become. And it's like everything from just, figuring out how to navigate the space, social distance properly, figuring out when we felt comfortable to take off our masks, and how to be able to set things up. A lot of what was happening with the pandemic was dictating how we were doing very specific things. And nevertheless, the narrative, which a lot of has been written during that, was helping to shape what was happening in that space. And, just watching them go from, okay, we haven't all been around each other, to now we're coming together and we're making the music come to life together. That's what you're also seeing happen there too, where everybody just started feeling comfortable speaking to each other. And I think just being in that space for as long as we were there together, I think that's what you're seeing.
And logistically, like I notated everything. So I gave Jarrett and Jacinth the sheet music, and similarly, Debbie asked for it. Debbie was like, I need to know like what this is and where it's going, because that will help inform. Debbie's a writer as well. And so not only seeing the sheet music, but just reading the lyrics helped her inform what to focus on. And even though we did have that much time in the space, it's almost like there's never enough time, because a big component of the work, it's kind of like, what I hoped for is that we can get to a place where we're not burdened by what's written on the page, so that it can, like, and Jarrett articulated this really well, and he picks up on it very well, that when the music changes from like one groove to another, it serves a dramatic function, right? And so and it's like the sweet spot is when you can let yourself actually play as opposed to being confined to the piece. And so much of this work, which I think feels maybe is different, is that every instrument is equally a character. And so there are moments when like Jarrett is driving, there are moments when Jacinth is driving, there are moments in between where Debbie's driving, and each entity in the space, in the collaborative space, is like equally valid and important. And they have different there are some times where like the vocals are in line with the bass line, and that's kind of a sweet duet, and that says something about where we are in the journey. And then there are some moments where everybody's going kind of discombobulated, right? Like in Look Up and Live Deeply, you only land on that phrase where I say, where we land demands our attention. So all of the like commotion and tension, it's all like, if this is the story, the music is adding the subtext of the drama that I hope is informing what everybody hears. And I think that is a really, like Debbie's saying also, we've been quarantined for almost a year. So asking everybody to come into a room and be like wholly present is kind of a big ask. And we are all in that room. Jarrett, Jacinth, and I are all composers. We are all writers. We are all music directors. And so there wasn't like one driver. It was like, I want everybody, but at the same time, it's like, but I know what it sounds like. and I know what it needs to be, but I have to get it out of here and I have to get it into everybody else's head equally. And because I think Jarrett and I have worked together before, like I'll hand him a lyric and Jarrett will set it musically better than I could ever set it. So he's already tuned into my everything. And I also think that as musicians, this isn't always our sweet spot. And so it's almost like we need to communicate on a different level. But what we do, like Jarrett said in one of our earlier conversations, is that as a musician and as a writer can be a really lonely thing. So when you're asking people who love being alone to do their alone thing together, it's like, it's really scary. And I don't know yet how to foster that quickly and authentically in a way that feels right, because it is also like, okay, we do have only so many hours.
But you saw and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yeah, and I would probably offer you, it might never happen quickly, but you'll get as far as you get in the time that you have. And I love the idea of visualizing the future of this as always a quartet or quintet, if you will. I think I was wondering if there might be more voices in it, like singers, but it's also an incredible musical, I can imagine, with only one singer as well. Do you have visions about that?
Yeah, Debbie and I will say, like, and that's the dream. Like, there is a duet in the number. There are like there's a duet in the show right now, and there's like ancestors and whatever, and other voices coming from other places, and you hear them in the opening number, and then you hear them in the end number, and also they're like bodies cost more money and bodies take more.
There are things coming from the sky.
Like Debbie and I had a cool conversation about, and Debbie, maybe you can talk about it. Like, what does it look like? Because who's saying what when will inform how you hear what you're hearing, right? Like even Jarrett, like when he's bowing, he's like he's the bass is it didn't fall on me that when I said the clarion call is heard by all, and then it's Jarrett, right? And Kyria, tied into what you were saying about our ability to be rooted, and I think that the bass is one of our most, like, it's that resonance, like even as the strings are vibrating, and like Jarrett, it's literally like you're playing another instrument. And yeah, what does that look like on stage? And yeah, Debbie, we talked about that. And who else is at play? Is it one person or is it a lot? Or
it's measured, and there's a lot going on, and there's this mirror that drops from the sky, and you know, we go back and forth from on between both sides, and eventually we just all go up. We all go up and out into the universe from which we've come. It's the embodiment of Sun songs, and there's a lot, but it's measured. It's a lot of colors and the sounds.
I think now is an appropriate moment for me to mention your NASA t-shirt, which I've been excited about, because also Katie did an Instagram takeover for High Arts and linked to some videos with Mae Jemison, who's the first Black woman who went to space for the United States, or maybe in the world. And in that talk, and it's a 2002 TED Talk, she's talking about how the arts and sciences are artificially separated from each other, and they're not actually so different. And then also some songs clearly in your lyrics are so much evoking our astral plane and looking up literally, and then stars and universe. Certainly there's, I'm sure a set designer would be chomping at the bit for this, but conceptually, what's coming up for you, or what's coming down from space for you to make this work?
Staging it.
Yeah, Jarrett, do you feel comfortable sharing what because Jarrett and I've never talked about this, but I'm wondering if he feels comfortable sharing what he sees, because $20 says he sees something, and I would bet, Debbie, that it falls very much in line with what we've been talking about all week about what it looks like.
I mean, it's suffice it to say there's a lot of blue on the stage, right? Suffice it to say there's so much blue on the stage, but also rays of light, rays of sunlight, of course. But we talked about this the other day, didn't we? Oh, definitely blue, just like this, but like rich colors.
Yeah, like there's blue giants, there's red giants, there all these different kinds of things that stars are. There's stardust, and what we've been talking about is the personification of those things, and not in the ways that are you think you hear people say that and just use the typical sparkly thing. It's the way that to be able to use black bodies and light, and have the reflections off of black bodies with light in different kinds of ways, and mirrors, where we see each other, in time with the music. And I mean, Katie's lyrics and music is just it inspires your imagination in all different kinds of ways. And it's like you see this stuff in the back of your head, and just a possibility to be able to put it on in different spaces and places and see the kinds of things that it's becoming.
There's like with Starberry Tree, and there's one version of me that like imagines like if that was animated, right? Like that whole, a starberry, for anybody who doesn't know, is an indigenous term for the top of a blueberry or blueberry. And like, because the top of it looks like a star. But like I was having thoughts about when I was younger, I grew up in Michigan, in northern Michigan, and my mother would take us blueberry picking. And that's what that song literally is about. It's like, and there's this old children's book called Blueberries for Sal, and I was rereading it, and I was like, oh, that's a cute book. Like, and I never thought about it, but I was like, I wonder, Sal's a relatively like gender neutral name. And then also looking at Sal, you're like, Sal, I don't think I know your gender identity. And that feels exciting for a book that I think was written in like the 60s or so, or like a while ago. But that, that I just remember that image of being little and like tying these milk jugs to you with a rope, and then crawling under these like aisles of blueberry bushes, and you just reach up and you get those. And I was like, and originally the indigenous people gave them to the colonizers to wish them well, which is heartbreaking. But even in that term starberry, it like that journey of like, does it start on Earth and then go, right? Like if that song was animated, that could be really cool. But then there's another one, like How Do You Measure the Moon, which wasn't featured in this share, but it's asking the question, like, how do you measure the moon? But the way measurements depend on who's saying what they are, like where you are. And so like the way that we measure the moon, from like my distance from here to the moon, how I measure it is going to be different than somebody who's measuring the moon from like Saturn to Jupiter. And so somebody came along and said, like, this is how we measure things. And so it's like when, it's not actually about how, it's about when. And like if you're looking in a mirror, Debbie and I has also talked about this. It originally started with epigenetics. We're talking about like bodies and womb, and that picture was going on the internet where you're in your mother's body. And then it's like that picture that was saying that when you're in her womb, you're actually connected to your grandmother also, or something like that. And so then I was like, oh, that's connected. But then there's light, and light refracts, and light bends. And the color with which we see the light depends on, or will dictate what color it burns at. But that our inception of it, again, will change. So like Debbie told me this really amazing metaphor, which has stuck with me, that if you're looking in the mirror at yourself, front on, you will only see you and yourself. If you turn, you will see you and whatever's behind you, right? You know how when we all stand in the mirror in the bathroom doing our hair, like, and you need that other mirror to get a different perspective on something. When you realize that you are the one holding your own perspective, that's when I think it's like, that's nirvana, that's self-actualization. That's like, oh, and there's another song on the show called Just One. And there's one character who says like, do you think we could stay for just one more moment? One more moment is all that I need. Look, is it always so clear here? And then the other character comes in and says like, this is where you've always meant to be. And your lifetime is many one moments put together. And so I think that that is the journey. This whole thing with sight is a big component of the show. And so having something revolving around a mirror, and the perspective, is it actually a mirror or is it something you can move through, right? And then what is that when Jarrett was bowing, that he did that in the very first song that I sent to him, Two Blue Balloons, which I didn't notate a bass part, and he just improv, and he chose, and it's like spooky, but it's also like saying something. You know, I guess spooky is a shorthand for like spacey. It's otherworldly. And period, just like you were saying earlier, that as much as we are rooted in the ground and on the earth, we are also constantly walking with all of our ancestors. So it's this circular thing about everything meeting, but you're the one in the center of it. And we don't always realize how much power we have driving that. And that's what we're aiming for. But I don't know when or where necessarily that moment happens. But when you do, I think you do experience a moment of peace that I do think is where we're going for. So is that love song at the end, your love, is that a love that you're talking about to yourself? Is that a love that you're talking about to somebody else? Is that a love that you're talking about to your ancestors? Is that a love song to anybody you've ever lost, you know, and who's come before you? And same thing in like, I wonder if you can see, I'm like, I had to describe it to a student, and I was like, when I was little, I used to stand on, we lived on a cul-de-sac, and there was this snow plow that would push all the snow into a really big pile, and we would go and stand on the top of it, and there was a lamppost over the top of it, and we would stand on the top of it, and I would take a handful of snow, and I would make a wish, and I would blow it, and you would see the like reflection of it. And that, to me, that moment of like, how do we get in touch with our childlike self? How do we talk to the future? Everything is about perspective. It's all about perspective.
Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, Kate, I want to say a lot of what you said came through as I was listening. I was thinking about, I was not just in the last song, but another song, I was like, I don't know if this is a lover speaking to a lover or loved one or to self. And I don't know that I need to know the answer to that. And there was, you know, the longing to commune with, speak with, be understood by, understand ancestors was present for me in the work. And Katie was referring to, before we started, I did a grounding breath where I talked about our spines being not only our own physical grounding, but also part of our ancestry. So I feel also I'm picking up what you're putting down a lot, because some of our references as creatives are the same. You've mentioned in other conversations how you're drawing from womanist, Black feminist writers and makers in the world. You've mentioned Bell Hooks, Gwendolyn Brooks, Maya Angelou, Audre Lorde, Pauli Murray, and so many others, of course, and then Mae Jemison. So and then another thing that we didn't quite touch on, and I'm sort of awkwardly moving us to close because unfortunately we're running out of time. There's never enough time. But is you also talked about how much of this work comes out of conversation with Debbie, but then with all of your collaborators. I'm really intrigued, coming back full circle to the first question I asked you, about this new way of making musical theater that you're talking about, which is not knowing the beginning, middle, and end, not structuring out, especially according to the rules, but rather drawing from what feels necessary, drawing from what's right now, drawing from what we're processing through, and making that live in the music. And I think that's really, it's coming through and it's exciting. I guess as a final note, what do you think might happen next? What do you feel like you need now after this residency?
More time. You know, I think that opportunities to keep working on it. And that's like the cool thing. Like you said also, Kyria, initially that like it's okay. It's okay to share, and the share will then end, you know? And I think that the work is saying that it is ready to come out. And that is yeah, like I want the hearing that you were able to get it without me having to explain it is a huge deal. Cause I'm really like no one's gonna get it, or no one, like, hearing that it's resonating, or like, who do you hear, or what do you hear, like, that's the dream. And I think finding a way to present it in this amazing opportunity to devise new musical theater that isn't like everything else, but is that seems really cool. Like, what is the, I know with Debbie we talked about, yeah, I said I do. I want Debbie, I want Jarrett to like orchestrate it, right? And like more instruments. I want to bring in more bodies. I want to bring in set people. I want to like have the same kind of collaborative conversations with other people who can go. I said to Debbie, I was like, Debbie, you've never been in like a theater collaborative room, but I think that like, okay, if we brought in a set person and we brought in Jarrett doing orchestrations, and everybody was having a conversation about what's resonating for them, what it then looks like, could be really fun and great. And I think that I would love that. I think I'm grateful for the ask of what I need, because that feels like things that I should learn how to say out loud. Debbie and Jarrett, what do you guys need or want?
I think this past year has been a lot of things, and it has been a very magical time. And all different kinds of magic. And I think that what I was able to watch with Katie in everything that she's done with this music is what it looks like for a creative person to have exactly what they need, which is time. And what that looks like, so many Black and brown people don't have the ability to just set aside a chunk of time to do the thing. Like, if you gave me X amount of time, I promise you I would do whatever it is that I want to do. And people are like, well, we don't know what that is, and you have to do all. And Katie's shown you just the tip of the iceberg of what that could be. And time is the latitude. And when we have these conversations, I'm telling you what it is that she has in terms of what the vision is absolutely stunning. And when I look at other people, we pick up the newspaper and we see people who have access and perhaps a different point of entry in terms of how they express their imagination. And we don't have that as people of color. Time, access to studio space, and the ability to be able to continue these conversations in that space where we're building with each other and throwing out these things that we're imagining, and then literally in that space making these things happen. So many of these camera angles that we got from different so much stuff that you haven't had an opportunity to see yet. So many different kind of camera angles and things that we got based on what the music sounded like at the time. Okay, we need to do a different take here. And when I'm hearing somebody's feeling a groove here, okay, now I need to concentrate on somebody's feet, or now I need to concentrate on somebody's hands, or different kinds of things. What does that look like going forward with on a stage? We need time. We need time without the stress of having to worry about all the other things.
So well said, and well timed also. If you're following along on Facebook or YouTube, we've dropped the link to donate to High Art so we can keep supporting Black and Latinx artists. So please do that. And donate to artists directly. Just give people money and time. And I can't reiterate that enough, Debbie, the way you said it. Give me the time and I will do exactly what I want to do with it. And you don't need to know what that is, or it could be incredible. Yeah. Oh, wow. So great.
Karen, can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
I also think that the more opportunities we as Black and brown humans can get to make our art, the more visibility there will be of us. And so the less people will be like, well, I don't understand what you're doing. And it's like, we do that thing, like we deserve to see ourselves in our art and not know what it is, or have a big name attached to it. Like, we deserve to be valid as Black and brown creators who deserve opportunities to figure it out. And then we will, like, all the people who, like, Jarrett and I went to school together, and a lot of we got was, well, your piece doesn't make sense. And it's like, when you're creating a language for something that doesn't exist, but it does exist because we see it in the writers, we see it in the work that we do outside of what's given to us. If we have more visibility to these examples of musical theater, then the industry will go, oh, and like let the work, look at our work. We are doing the work, we're showing up, we'll tell you what we need, but if you keep telling us that you don't understand it or you don't want to fund it or that it has to be like something else, you're going to crush everything that inspires us to live as creatives.
Yes, and I think with that we have to end because that's what it is. But I really thank you all for sharing this bit of yourselves, not just your work, but yourselves with us. I really look forward to following more of your work. Check out High Arts for more information on each of these amazing artists, and some of their socials and websites are on there as well. And keep following. Look out for Katie Madison Sun Songs. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful night.
High Arts too, like High Arts is everything.
Oh, and thank you for First Choice in Interpreting for interpreting.
Thank you, interpreters. Thank you.